we've travelled up to this huge facility here called Unilathe today, and I've grabbed Andrew to find out a little bit more about the company and kind of what trends are happening in the industry. Before we start, Andrew, I've got to say, filming today, your team, what a workforce. They've been so accommodating and they are so much fun.
Good. I'm glad they're engaged.
They are. They've been great. They've got on camera and they've got involved. So great workforce. So, Andrew, Unilathe, what is it that you're making here? What are you specialising in?
So, Unilathe's SME up here in Stoke-on-Trent, really supporting cross-sector as a manufacturer of machining and fabricated components. That sector culminates across off-highway, oil and gas, rail, IGT, some aerospace. Components, vast range really, from gearbox components, transmission components, right the way through to machine fabrications.
You've got such a huge array of machines. In general, I will say a lot of your machines are for bigger work, aren't they? Larger work. So what's
Yes.
the capacity here that we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we're not well known for a smaller
No.
capacity, but we really do turn from what we call a doll's eye right the way up to 5-6 ton in component weight. And we really do try and bridge all that capacity from that small bar feeding, pins, bushes style work, right the way through to the twin pallet machines that are doing production style transmission componentry, up to some of the larger milling and turning capabilities that are supporting some of the project work in oil and gas.
So what trends have you seen? Of course, we've had a tumultuous year, shall we say?
Yes.
Good word to describe it. What industries have you served that maybe have gone up and down, and areas that you've covered?
I think we've seen probably a bit of a twin phase now to the pandemic for us. Clearly we went into the pandemic and from an OE equipment perspective and a services, i.e. our rail side, that took quite a dive early on with facilities shutting, etc., and OEMs shutting straight away. So that had an impact on that side. Fortunately for us, our project style work in oil and gas and subsea was really quite busy at the time, and because of the nature of the project, that saw us really through for us to continue manufacturing through the pandemic. We're now seeing maybe a bit more of a hit on that side and a bit of a tail off, but the OE equipment's clearly coming back, a lot of infrastructure spending, and that really trying to kick the economy off. So, you know, we are back into healthy numbers on our OE sort of customers, and indeed we're now reinvesting in machine tools and trying to get up to speed with what look like increased numbers.
So it's quite interesting, when you're talking about reinvesting in machine tools, would you have done that and thought that you'd be doing that a year ago?
No, I don't think so, to be right. I think
No.
before the pandemic, we'd got a clear strategy to develop as a tier 1 to OEM customers. I think as we went into the pandemic, that was really then questioning about our own internal strategy. Was that going to be right? Was it going to be wrong?
Yeah.
We were looking at aerospace more deeply, and as that turned out, that at the moment is a real struggling side, clearly. But certainly from a construction equipment perspective, you know, we've really seen a big uptick. The strategy that we deployed for some years before the pandemic has really gained pace now, and I think that's exciting for us to move forward with that and really begin to drive forward. We want to be a class-leading manufacturer in the UK to them industries.
And by you saying that off camera, you said to me that you like to invest in your high-end equipment,
Yeah.
the best of the best. Why are you going for that level?
I think we've got to now. I think we, you know, no longer are we on a global field in terms of competitiveness. We've got to compete, you know, through the world. It's a global economy, and we're finding that we've got to compete on that level. For us in the UK, maybe labour costs are slightly higher than elsewhere as opposed to low costs. So we really need to embrace the technology from a machine tool point.
Automation.
And automation. So it really culminates in both machine tool technology, what we would call offline support and services, whether that's tool build, whether it's programming, what the offline support means to that, and ultimately looking then at automation and how we begin to bring that in the future.
Right, my last question to you then is, what are your predictions or your trends for the future? What do you think is the industry that you're going to be working on more? Where do you see growth?
I think for us, growth, clearly at the moment, short to medium term, there's some growth in the construction equipment sector, and I think we'll make the most of that because traditionally that's where we've been very strong and will continue to be strong. I think it's going to be an interesting landscape, but certainly from an OE perspective with rail, maybe with IGT coming back on board, and certainly some of the nuclear work that's about, I think it's going to be an interesting and exciting marketplace.
There you go. Another positive manufacturing story out there. From here, fabulous facility, Unilathe.